time to play ball. Welcome to the podcast with no limits. Whether it be sports, current events, or random thoughts, this is the place to step in and stay a while. Your host is a proud alumnus of Rio Hondo Prep, a former minor league baseball umpire, and a man with strong opinions. Welcome to the Get Home Safe podcast and your host, Matt Hersema.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Get Home Safe. We're still in July, right? Just happy Tuesday to everyone out there. For total transparency, I do want to let you guys know that I am recording this actually right before the weekend because I am going to be rather busy. So I wanted to make sure we get out an episode on time here. So if there's some big news or something that occurs over the weekend, I wasn't able to comment on it yet because it hasn't happened yet. So just speaking from the heart, speaking from here in my kitchen right now. So anyway, like I always do, just want to let you guys know about that is if you guys are listening. And but why isn't Matt talking about this? And honestly, I looked ahead and there really wasn't anything on the horizon sports wise that I wanted to really talk about. So I was like, there's always fights, but there's no good boxing. There's no good UFC. The Major League All Star Game is this upcoming Tuesday, I believe, when this is released. So that's always exciting. I think hands down the best of the All Star games. I'm not so much into the home run derby. They change the rules like every year. It would be cool to go to, and it is here in Los Angeles, which would be neat to go to, especially in Dodger Stadium, but wasn't able to make it happen. And do you guys ever have that where you like make plans? I'm a big planner, especially years in advance. And it's like, oh man, the All-Star Game's coming to Dodger Stadium in 2020. I think it was originally going to be 2020. And then, we know what happened, but you guys ever do that where you plan something and oh man, when that's here, 5 years from now, when that is here, I'm absolutely going to be there. I said that about the Rams when they opened their new stadium. I said, I want to be in the first game in the Coliseum. I want to be in the first game in the new stadium. And I didn't get to go to either. So I had many years to plan it out, to save up. I just didn't make it happen. And that bothers me big time when I plan something and it doesn't happen. Not just doesn't happen the way I want it to go. That has had a lot of the podcasts I've done over the past few years. That's 100% been that way. Not 100%. I've also had some great moments where I have absolutely nailed it, but those are few and far between. I'm probably like a 300 hitter, which is Hall of Fame numbers still, but 3 out of 10 every now and then I'm not going out of the park. So, but man, I love preparation and planning and being ready for something that's coming up down the road. That's why I'm a big schedule guy. I like looking at the NFL schedules. I like looking at my work schedule. When is my vacation time? When are big fights happening down the road? I talked about this with you guys a few weeks back about just like the sports calendar, knowing, hey, in March, we got March Madness. Hello, why would you schedule an I Care for Youth dinner during March Madness? I'm just saying. I needed to be on more committees, I think, at Care and Rio to be that voice of reason. I'll give you an example outside of Rio. In high school basketball, which I used to be a part of, in the Foothill Citrus unit, we used to have meetings on Monday nights, and those would start right around Halloween, and it would be Monday nights, October, November, not so much in December. They kind of give you a break, and we're kind of off and running there with basketball. But then we'd always come back and have like 1 or 2 meetings in January, and every single year that Monday meeting landed on the night of the college football national championship. And every year I was on the board a couple of years, tried to voice my opinion. Hey, can we not have a meeting on that? Because we didn't have a meeting every single day in January, but we just happened to have the one meeting we would have in January would be during the national championship game every year. And I usually got a little, little sick at that time. I had to, do some makeup meetings beforehand, knowing what I would do every year. And some people wouldn't budge. Some people were stubborn. No, this is when we have the classroom. We're a basketball unit. We don't care about football. I'm just like, yes, but you're a human being. You're a man. You a woman, if you're a sports fan, the college football national championship. Look, I have a better idea. Why don't we just have a meeting on the Super Bowl? Let's do that. And I've been, again, woe is me. I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I'll continue. When I started college baseball, the first opening week used to be in Division One was weekend of the Super Bowl. Now, some teams played a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. Some teams played a really early game on Sunday. Division One moved their season later, but they were still Division Two, and all these teams would have opening weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're going to play the day of the Super Bowl, and it's like I was always unavailable, and I made sure a year in advance I blocked that Sunday. Like, no, I am not working. I am unavailable. I look at calendars. So this is why I have no hair. I've pulled it all out because my entire life I've dealt with people who like don't want to look ahead and be like, is there anything going on that weekend? Well, how does this happen? How did we get here? How do we not know? I used to have to tell friends, oh, you don't even know what time your team is playing on Sunday. Oh, yeah, I'll wear the shirt, though. So anyway, I'm doing this podcast a little early so that it's out for you guys on Tuesday because I may not be available on Monday or Tuesday to do a podcast. So I had some time today and I thought I'd do it. So that's why you're hearing this today. So scheduling people. And I'm not just saying, this is not just husbands and men out there who have, I'm sure women, there's things. I'm not talking to the sports fans because you know where I'm coming from, but like whatever big events women are really into. My mom, as an example, always into the Oscars. That was just her thing. She's a one night a year, leave me alone. From 4:00 on Sunday, her door was shut. She said, do not bother me for anything. I never asked for this. So we knew there was no bothering mom on Oscar night. I'd be curious if she'd still be watching. She'd probably still be watching it. She liked all the gowns and the celebrities and everything. I even watched it with her a few years. And then, you become a young man, you don't care about all that stuff anymore. But that's just an example. So if you have something, show the courtesy. Like, for instance, wedding invitations, just send those out, right? Save the date. And when I immediately get those, I look at the date and I'm like, and I start running through my mind. Okay, November, what's going on here? Okay, it's not Thanksgiving, but there is a Thanksgiving weekend of football. What happens? This is just how my mind works. Okay. So we need to live our lives more with the save the date. Like know when, UCLA and USC are playing each other. Like, I don't know. Know when the College World Series is. Know when the Final Four National Championship is. Let's save the date on these things. Maybe what men need to do. I'm a call to arms here. Well, I'm sorry, I can't say that. It's very disrespectful. The mayor of Chicago, who has more murders in her city every single weekend, we've lost track, and very restrictive gun law. She could say a call to arms against members of the Supreme Court and whatever her causes are. She could say, can you imagine if someone in a red state governor, for instance, red state mayor said that? Red city, I should say. Ooh, it'd be all over this. This person called for the deaths of. No. Only some people are allowed to say things. You ever notice that? Where if you just flip the tables, flip the tables? Jesus flipped the table in the temple or whatever. Is that where it comes from? Flipping the table or just flipping it? I don't know. I'm a mess today, guys. I am all over the place. So maybe men out there need to send out save the dates, and you pick maybe 10, 15 sporting events a year. Let's not get carried away. Where you sit at the table, and you write your little invitations out and you send them to your wife. Make sure it's a really nice envelope. What do they do to those envelopes? I don't even know. Glitter, whatever. I don't know. Just save the date and you mail them to your wife, maybe even at her work. So it's not, I don't know. I literally did not write this down. This is totally off the top of my head right now. We as men need save the dates, and men, do not be greedy. You got to hear me out now. You got to prioritize your sports viewing, your sports events. We've talked about this on the podcast before about what are your top 10 sporting events. And, football season is about to kick off here in September, August for high school football. And pretty much every weekend will be occupied, if you know what I mean. Now, I may have to work a little harder during the week to recuse myself from other duties and such, but that's life. So I think we should do this. We can even have get home safe, which is ironic. Get home safe. What is that called? The letterhead, I think. Do I have a save the date up here? Graduation announcement, same thing, same concept. And and you got to use calligraphy or whatever. Maybe use a quilted pen just so it looks nice and write on there. January 10th, college football national championship game, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Always plan for overtime, fellas. Always plan for overtime. You never know. You don't want a game to be going to overtime and you told, hey, I need another 30 minutes. What? Cash it in. Do the extra. Always prepare. This whole thing is prepared today. Prepare and plan. Okay, there's one. And you put the little box. You know how they were always like chicken or steak, and put the little box for like check mark or whatever. Or no, what the boxes would be, instead of chicken or steak, it'll be at home or out with friends. And again, fellas, they can't all be one. All 10 can't be on one side. You got to have some steak in there with the chicken. You know what I mean? You got to be out of the house. You got to be in the house. So I think I may be revolutionizing relationships right now. I haven't run this by Valerie. She probably will not agree with this. I think it's ridiculous, but this is why I have a podcast. Oh man, I saw the red light blinking. Okay, when I yell, it does that. This is scary. See, last week I recorded a whole podcast and it was like, what's that red light mean? And it means mute. So I recorded a whole thing with no sound. I don't think Val's going to like this idea. She doesn't like many of my ideas, and that's fine. But I have this microphone here for this very reason, to spew out meaningless nonsense or perhaps revolutionary ideas. We're still in the month of July. That's as tribute to our fallen fathers who fought in a revolution. Why not some revolutionary ideas? Everyone else seems to be around the country. You can have an uprising and unpeaceful protests all you want everywhere else. Maybe this is my peaceful protest. So I don't believe in violence. I believe in moral violence, like killing someone that is attacking you or being bad, or go kill bad guys who want to harm other people. I believe in that. Thank God for moral violence. I read a paper and commented on that one time in college. I'm all over the place today. I wasn't sure because I didn't have when I sat down today, I didn't have the parachute of the weekend to, like, usually when I talk on the Tuesday podcast, I talk about things that occurred over the weekend. Well, I didn't have that luxury today. It's kind of like, I don't know, going out there with driving without a seatbelt. You're rolling the dice. You don't know. So maybe it would have been a boring weekend anyway. Now I say that, watch, there'll be breaking news everywhere. There'll be all kinds of things happening. And I'll just be like, oh, I didn't comment on it. We'll have to save it for the next week, right? So back to the save the date. And it will be hilarious is, whenever you get those envelopes, even I, as a guy, I'm like, okay, cool. Who's getting hitched? Who's getting, do people still say that, by the way? Is that an offensive term? I lose track of what's offensive. Is getting hitched, is that an offensive term? If so, I'm going to use it more. Absolutely. I need a list. I started a woke dictionary. I started writing those down, like words that maybe you don't even know what they mean, but like they're overused. And maybe that's the point of using them, is so that they can just sound like they're important. Kind of like me on a weekly basis on the podcast. What happened here? Oh, this just came in. Elon Musk drops Twitter bid after transparency demands fall flat. So there goes that. There goes the whole free speech thing. Or as people on the left would call it, a threat to our democracy with the misinformation campaign. I'll leave that alone. But anyway, there's some news that broke that may be a big deal over the weekend that I wasn't going to get to cover if I didn't look down on my phone. So save the dates. Even as a guy, I'm like, okay, cool. Let's see what they did with their declaration, with their invitation. And you open it and you know immediately if the dude had anything to do with this. 90% of the time, the dude had nothing to do with it. But sometimes the photo, I don't know, it's a little more outdoors or something. I got to believe, I haven't been there yet. I hope in the near future, but I'm assuming most men, all that stuff, most of the wedding, they're just like, they step aside and they're like, go ahead. I asked the question, you answered. Now we're done talking. I'm assuming so. At least that's kind of what my buddies told. I won't say which ones because then they'll get in trouble if they're ladies. Okay, I'm always one step ahead. But yes, save the dates, and you prioritize it. Maybe something every month, some months, and you got to have, in order to be free to watch these big sporting events, you got to offer some type of nice alternative. Hey, I'm a capitalist guy. You earn the right for something, right? I think, or no earning, just giving, no rights. I know we don't, right? We're losing, I mean, whatever, but so maybe you got to do something nice for the lady. Could be a date night. Could be a new car. I got someone in a new car. It'd be about this big, like a little toy car. I could do that. But anyway, yeah, well, you have the national championship in January. You'd have February, the Super Bowl, March Madness in March. April would be, I don't know, maybe you give them one for that. You got opening day. You got the Masters. You got at least one of the first Monday nights there is the college basketball national championship. May, what's going on in May? The end of May, you got the college regionals, and June, College World Series. July is kind of so there's some dry spell, and we're in it right now. We're kind of in that dry spell. I told you guys, July and August, kind of tough sports months. Probably the two toughest of the year. There's really only baseball on. August, training camps and the preseason games are going. It doesn't really count. I don't really care. Let's get to the main event here. Let's get to September. Football and holidays. I mean, football and holiday season. It's a magical time. So there will be a lot of Saturdays and Sundays here the next few months where my fellow brothers out there, you'll be mowing a few more lawns. You'll be attending a few more farmers markets. You'll be doing a few more walks. I'm such a bad, how she puts up with me. I don't know. Hey, what do you think about going? I don't care. I mean, and then they ask you, well, how come you never have an opinion about some of these things? Because I don't care. What do you think about the farmer's market? I mean, I'd rather not go, but I'll go if you want. That's how it works. I get asked questions all the time. Like I live with the Riddler. I'm kidding, Val. I'm kidding. Kind of. I'm like, what I've started to do is when she asked me like, hey, what color do you think this wall should be? I was like, what defense do you think the Patriots should run on 3rd and 4? That's what I've started doing. She rolls her eyes and then regrets asking me questions. Because I'm like, you care about that? I don't, I had minimal notes today and was like, how am I going to have a show? Anyway, let's talk about something that is more tragic. I mentioned at the end of save the dates, fellas. Hey, revolutionary idea, patent pending. I think it's a real winner because pretty much anything you announce in those fancy envelopes is a win. Could be a wedding, graduation, a new baby for someone. Those always seem to be happy times. I'm in favor of listing off important sports dates that need to be reserved for anyone who cherishes them as much as I do. Okay, so on to something a lot more serious and controversial. I ended the show last week teasing the whole concept of what I witnessed before the 4th of July. I didn't want this to ruin my Independence weekend. And I saw it and I about threw this baseball through the window. Those of you who've seen me, though, I probably miss and I break my coffee pot or something. So I couldn't believe it. I saw this couple bringing a wagon. Nothing wrong with a wagon. I'm a big Radio Flyer fan. Sports drinks in there, a boom box, whatever we used to do when we were kids, some equipment, go to the park, play for hours, like bring your gear, right? But what I saw sickened me. It was these are adults at least in physical stature, pulling along the old radio flyer there, and they got their dog in the back of it. I've ranted about dogs here on the podcast so many times, and every time I do, I say that's the last time. I'm not going to let these animals get to me. But when I saw that, I was incredibly angry, and I was angry at the owners, as I often am, because the animals are just going to be, they're going to be what they are. They're animals. They are not humans. And we have to get past this reasoning that animals are more valuable and more important than humans. The grass, the plants are more important than humans. Stop it. Animals and plants do not pay taxes. They don't pay rent. They don't do any of those things. So they don't have rights. Now, I'm not saying you torture animals. That is incredible. That's sickening. And I have to say these things or someone's going to come after me if anyone's even listening anymore. I'm not saying waste, don't litter. I'm not saying cut down trees for sport. But my goodness, this love affair we have, animals and plants, they're more important than people. And so we've mistreated people more. This is, again, these are big subjects. Our society is just disintegrating because of things like this. Walking a dog in a wagon? What is wrong with you? Well, he sprained his ankle last week, and we got to play through some pain. If he was in the wilderness by himself, there's predators all around him. You think he could just sit there? Oh, I hurt my ankle. Someone wheel me around. No, life or death. Shoot it up. Throw some dirt on it. I don't know, but like the whole point of walking your animal, and I've lived with dog owners, so I know I have a voice here, and I know dog experts is to get them some exercise, to handle their business out of the house. It's a little routine, right? They love running around and seeing things. Like, it's great. I've walked a few dogs here and there, or probably just one. But, well, no. Anyway, it's fun. You treat it, learn, educate how to be around people, be around other dogs. This dog specifically, it's the same one that when it sees humans, it starts snarling and barking and isn't that cute? No, it's not cute. You know what's also not cute is you dragging a wagon with a dog in it. Couldn't that wagon have been better used for someone who needed it? Perhaps a family with a child? Couldn't this wagon have been put to better use than a dog with 4 legs who is like born to run and walk and all this? I want to know where that conversation came. And it wasn't because it was like, first of all, if the walk is too far, could that be it? I don't even know where in like someone's mind, they're like, let's have a wagon handy in case our animal gets tired. As if you're crossing the great frontier, going from Texas to Oregon in a covered wagon or something. You're going around the block. And if the purpose is to educate the dog on, okay, we're going to just focus on not barking at other animals and dogs right now. So let's take away the whole legs thing. Let's do one thing at a time. Maybe I listen to you, but you're not doing that. Does I've stepped outside my house wearing something or been like, man, did I look in the mirror? Like I look ridiculous right now. Like, at what point I always have this like natural, because I hate like attention. I hate looking ridiculous. I hate that. And because I've done a lot of ridiculous things, and I hate being embarrassed. It's just like, so I'm overly sensitive. I hate using that word, but that's the only thing I come up with. I'm overly aware of like looking stupid. And so I don't take risks that I should and things, but like some people are just oblivious. At no point do you see yourself float out of your body and look at yourself. You're walking an animal in a wagon like it's a child. Am I the lunatic here? Am I out of touch? Maybe the dog's dying. I don't think it is, because it annoys me every day. Its lungs work just fine. Runs around the complex just fine. I swear I'm becoming an old man so fast. it's almost demoralizing. The things that anger you as an adult. There's plenty of other issues in the world. We had the former Japanese prime minister assassinated just last night. The world is in a crazy place right now. And I truly believe it starts with things like this. What happened to Neighborhood Watch? What happened to that? It's not too often you see some guy in a trench coat, really mysterious guy. If I was Neighborhood Watch, I saw two people walking a dog in a wagon, that would set off all kinds of alarms. Hey, we have a mysterious package here. We have a couple and a dog. Hey, what's wrong with that? The dog's in the wagon. Shh, everyone, red alert, red alert. There's something's afoot here. What are we doing? And I am no expert on life. I want to say a normal guy. Is that allowed? Can you say normal? I'm saying normal more as often as I can because it's so rare these days. And I like my sports. I like my red meat, medium rare. I like my drinks cold. I like my coffee hot and black. I like the podcast. I've never in my life, if I was a child, if I had a dog and we put a dog in a wagon and my father saw that, he might disown us. What are you doing? You're going to walk a dog in a wagon. This just came to my mind. My dad, God bless my dad. He really did. Sam and I are far from big macho guys or anything, but my dad had 1,000,001 lines. And Father's Day episode was a lot of fun with my brother, but my dad, if he caught, this is an example, language was important, right? And if he heard one of us say, I got to do my hair, my dad would, he said, men do not do their hair. That's a woman thing. Brush your hair or comb it. You do not do your hair. And I remember him saying that to me early on in my life. Oh, Mom, I got to do my hair. And he was just like, what? No, men don't do their hair. They brush their hair. They comb their hair. Men don't do their hair or fix their hair. Some of that old school father loving. And you know what? I'm very gracious that he said things like that to us at a young age, because yeah, I think there's a lot to be said. We got dogs in wagons now. We got what was the other one? Beach balls. That's a different story. But you talk about masculinity. And again, I can barely do a push-up, can't really do a pull-up, never have really. I'm admitting this on live television here. But there's some masculine traits I firmly believe in. And that's a big one. I don't have any hair anymore. I used to have to do this all the time. I'm like, I gotta shave my head. Gotta do my hair. Gotta do my head, right? No. I'm gonna shave my head. Men don't, because it's a women thing. I'm gonna go get my hair done. God forbid we say we gotta go get our hair done instead of you're getting haircuts, not getting your hair done. Oh, we all need strong fathers, I tell you. I think it's definitely contributing to a lot of things these days, where men can't be tough loving and things of that nature. So thank you, Dad. Once again, I've told you many times, but thank you. And I got a long ways to go. Whole masculine, I am not handy at all. I have a tough time with screwdrivers, with hammers, with, car stuff, all those things. I definitely fall flat and fail in the masculinity trait. So we can't all be perfect, but what we can control, things we can do better in, I think we need to strive for. So yeah, I just chuckle with my dad sometimes. So I'm just like, he was right. And I see it now. I see all those things now after growing up. It's dogs and wagons, man. This is where we are. It bothers me. It's sickening. And someone, if someone ever writes in again or calls in, they're going to say, Matt, I had a dog that was on its deathbed and all it wanted to do was see light and see the trees that it used to run up to and just get the fresh air. Okay, fine. If we're having a funeral procession before the animal dies, fine. But have a sign on it or something. I don't know. Like, you got to warn me for something like seeing that. You can't just throw that out there. But I guess, I feel these days, is the most important thing. And I felt like taking my dog in a wagon. Oh, man, we need God and we need better hobbies. I'm just telling you right now. I got suggested a documentary that I have not yet seen, but it is about basically one of the biggest hockey fights of all time. Good friend of mine, Mr. Brian Earls, sent me the information on it. It's called Unrivaled, UNRIVALED. Look for it on ESPN Plus. I'm looking forward to this. And if you don't have time to watch the whole documentary, then at least look up the fight that occurred in, I want to say the mid 90s. This thing went for like 15 minutes. The goalies got involved. It was a big fight in 1997. And I started to watch it and I was like, and then, you know what? I'm glad I pulled this up. This country, I swear on the good Lord here, we are so incredibly soft. We got wagon dog walkers. That's going on. So I pulled up this clip. I wanted to get the information. Colorado Avalanche and Detroit Red Wings brawl in Hockeytown, March 26, 1997. Towards the end of the year. I don't know how both clubs were that year, but probably a frustrating season, I got to imagine. Or maybe just, standing up for a guy that was decked the year before. But this documentary, Unrivaled, apparently is really good. I trust Brian's opinion, and he told me to watch it, so I can't wait to see it. So if you're looking for a good sports doc, I would give that one a shot on ESPN Plus. But I pulled up this YouTube clip, and if you just want to watch the fight itself, it's on YouTube. But you will be greeted with this message on YouTube. Probably have this pulled off of YouTube now, but here is a little brief message. The following content has been identified by YouTube community as inappropriate or offensive to some audiences. A hockey fight? A hockey fight requires that message? I've clicked on some dark, violent videos before on YouTube. I have never once seen that message before clicking on it for that hockey fight. Did some guy take his skate off and slash someone's throat? Like, what? That needed a message? What? Maybe it's just my settings or something. But like I said, I've watched other violent scenes from movies and just whatever, but I've never seen that before. Come on, YouTube. Come on, America. A hockey fight's offensive. That shows you how out of touch we are with everything now. A hockey fight is offensive and inappropriate. What? Because there'll be a massive hockey fight break out up the street. Is that what the fear is? I didn't even plan to talk about that in this. Things are popping up today that I didn't expect. Unrivaled documentary. Check it out. And if you don't have time, watch the 15-minute brawl. The goalies came out. I mean, when you think the fight's over, another one breaks out over here. It was pretty epic. One of the great things about hockey is it's like, it's not this tough guy contest. It's like, no, you want to go? Let's go. And then to do all this on skates too. Woo! Got some good stiff right hooks and jabs there on skates. That's crazy. So thank you, Brian. I will definitely check that out. And good to know YouTube is watching out for us. You got to be kidding me. Okay. I had a thought the other day with, as news broke that one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL, Baker Mayfield, was traded for practically nothing to the Carolina Panthers. I just chuckled as soon as I saw that. And I want to start a hashtag right now, back up Baker, because I think Baker is going to go to Carolina. And even if he wins the job over Sam Darnold, I think Sam Darnold will overtake him and be the starter. Or maybe Darnold will be the starter altogether. Just my thoughts. I would take Sam Darnold over Baker Mayfield in a heartbeat. Sam's maybe a little less talented, but he's not a head case and a true leader. So everyone gave me grief. Oh, look at Baker Mayfield. He's really good. He took the team to the playoffs. Yay! Way to go, Baker. The fact that the Browns signed a guy in serious law trouble like Deshaun Watson and gave him all that money guaranteed, that's a big time indictment on Baker Mayfield and what they thought of him. 4 years of evidence now. And I think the proof is there that perhaps he shouldn't have been number one overall pick. Not a guy you want to build your franchise around. Maybe a lack of leadership. Perhaps maturity issues. So he may pop in Carolina. Who knows? But I think that team's a little ways away. I'm curious to see how their head coach Matt Rule does with these options. But I could be dead wrong. I've been wrong before, and unfortunately, or fortunately, in this situation, I think I've been right about Baker Mayfield for quite some time. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's go, Sam Darnold. Fight on, man. Fight on. And just in the spirit of that, with backups, perhaps one of those guys being a backup quarterback. I don't know why more guys I'm talking about the guys who come into the league and for a couple of years, maybe they get some playing time, maybe they don't. And then they just they have too much pride to just stay in the league as a backup. I don't know. Sometimes being a backup isn't a bad thing. Great quarterback out of where did he play? Missouri. Chase Daniel. Remember a couple years ago. It was kind of when I was in high school. Kansas and Missouri, two teams that weren't traditionally great. They were two really good years. Both went to big bowl games, played each other in the big. What is that game? That's a big rivalry game. Forget what the game is actually called. Missouri and Kansas played each other, and it was a heck of a game. But Chase Daniel was a quarterback of that team. Chase Daniel's been in the NFL, man, over 10 years. He's been a backup quarterback the whole time. Hardly ever sees the field. He was in New Orleans he's been all over. And I saw a stat on him recently that he has he's amassed a fortune as a backup quarterback, just knowing the offense, hardly ever playing. He's amassed over his career $41 million by being a guy that just holds a clipboard, has a headset, gets some snaps in the preseason. I mean, he hasn't had to play a whole lot. And if he did need to play, he'd be ready. And he has done a decent job the times he's gone in, but he's not a starter. He's just a backup. He knows what he is, and he stuck it out, and he's been in the league a long time. And so my thought is that for many of us aren't number ones. Many of us aren't a head coach. Many of us aren't a manager at our job, but man, you can be the best number two in the world. You can be the best backup quarterback and make the most of a situation. A lot of guys get discouraged. Oh, I'm never going to get a head coaching job, or oh, I'm never going to be promoted. Well, that may be, and there may be reasons around that you can't control, but being a backup isn't always the worst thing. Make the most of it. Chase Daniel sure has $41 million, making, a few $100,000 every single year. Heck, making million or a couple million every year. And there's value in that. You can't tell me a guy that's been a backup that long doesn't provide teams with value. There's experience there. You've seen a lot from the sidelines. You've talked to other starting quarterbacks. You've been in those conversations with coordinators and great quarterbacks that you've sat behind. So it got me thinking that, some guys do make the most of their opportunities, and he probably, swallowed the pill a few years ago, just as far as being like, never going to really play, but I'll be a backup. I'll never have to worry about money again, and collect a great bunch of memories. So congrats to Chase Daniel, man. So many guys to hold a spot in the league that long too, when you don't have a ton of stats. For a lot of players, other positions, you do got to kind of produce, or you're out of the league, right? Quarterback's a little different. You need 2 or 3 guys that, and with, 1 or 2 of them just sitting behind waiting just in case. And those starters, you got to play you got to play or backup. They got to play against the starting defense a lot. They're running some scout team stuff every now and then. And God forbid someone gets hurt, they got to run in there in the middle of a game. And like people expect you to deliver. So it's not all easy. I got to imagine that. I was a backup quarterback. It was rough. I didn't like it. I didn't like not being able to play. I wanted to play. I like to come in and do mop up duties and stuff. But I had to be patient for kind of my opportunity. And not everyone's going to get there. Like Chase Daniel, never going to be a starting quarterback, but he's been a backup for a very long time. Some teams have kept paying him a lot of money. Starting quarterbacks these days are making $40 million a year, but someone like Chase Daniel, who's holding the clipboard 99% of the snaps, $41 million over a career for not having to really play much. That's pretty cool. So for those of you frustrated about not getting your top spot that you want, maybe it is you're never going to get there, and make the most of who you are, what you are. And for others, maybe it is, hey, not yet. Wait your turn. Think about the backup quarterbacks, the guys that have sat behind people. And I'm not talking about like a situation where a guy gets drafted and all of a sudden it is, for like example, the Rams with Jared Goff. They drafted him. He wasn't the starter. He was the backup. But when you're the number 1 overall pick, you're going to be the starter eventually. But he wasn't ready. And he wasn't ready at all that first year. They sat on Case Keenum. And Case Keenum was a dead man walking, basically. Okay, you're the starter, but this kid is the future. I'm not talking about those situations. I'm talking about situations where the starting quarterback is really, really good, or at least at one time was, and you're kind of waiting for this guy for your opportunity. I'm talking about the likes of, even though it wasn't very long, Patrick Mahomes behind Alex Smith. Right? Alex Smith was a proven winner, won playoff games. How about Steve Young behind Joe Montana, one of the most famous backup quarterbacks overtaking a legendary starter? Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. A guy that won a Super Bowl, Jeff Hostetler, backed up Phil Simms, came in and won a Super Bowl when Phil Simms was injured, and then he had an extended career with the Raiders, I think here in LA. So some guys make the most of their opportunities. Kurt Warner worked his entire life just to become a backup. And then in the preseason, Trent Green gets banged up. He becomes a Super Bowl champion and a Hall of Famer. So I guess my long-winded rant there is, if you are a backup, if you're second string and you're waiting and you think you deserve, you just wait and make the most of your shot. And if the other approach is the Chase Daniel approach, where it's like, I may never get to where I want to be, but I'm going to enjoy this level. That's kind of how I felt with umpiring. A lot of guys had dreams and aspirations of reaching the big leagues, and I did too. But I also knew I knew the numbers. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make the most of my minor league experience and my college experience. And if I do, someone gets hurt and I find a way into the big leagues, wow, that would be incredible. But you got to kind of know who you are, what you're working with. If you're in that backup role, Baker Mayfield, I don't know how he's going to be. I can't see him being very happy on the sidelines holding that clipboard. But for some guys, they make the most of it. And for other guys, they are motivated to eventually become successful. And sometimes I wrote this down. I wrote this down just as an example. I saw on the Herd the other day, Colin Cowherd show. I saw Alex Curry filling in for Joy Taylor. At one time, I really liked Joy Taylor as Colin's, right-hand woman. But I don't know. I like Alex Curry better as far as what she brings to the table with the Herd. Joy, some would say, oh, she's super talented. She knows a lot. I've been watching the Herd a long time, and she seems to only repeat Colin's points, especially when she fills in for him. And just because her brother was a Hall of Fame football player doesn't mean she knows a ton. Alex Curry, to me, with her work with the Angels and the Kings, I don't know. I think she fits that seat a little bit better. Just one man's opinion that sometimes the backup is better than the first string. And maybe we'll see some change there. I don't know. Probably not. They love Joy Taylor, and she does a good job. I can't knock them that much. But it was just a thought I had outside of my logic, my second string, first string logic. Sometimes they have it backwards, and that's why you keep competing, right? Rest in peace, Mr. James Caan, a legendary actor, 82 years young, I think he passed away. Legendary roles in The Godfather, The Program as Coach Winters, Elf as the angry father of Buddy the Elf, Brian's Song as Brian Piccolo, the original one there with Gail Sayers, a teammate, Brian Piccolo, who ends up dying of cancer. It just, man, what a career for James Caan. The other night we heard the news, and I cooked up some pasta, and we made sure to kind of have a Godfather's type of meal, just to pay tribute to him. And one of my favorite actors. I love the movie The Program. Him as a Coach Winters is fantastic. The shots of him on the sideline, the recruiting he does, the reacting, talking to college presidents. It's just, he fit that role so good. And The Godfather, spoiler alert, he's only in the first one, we'll say, but his role there as Sonny was fantastic. Sonny Corleone, the heir apparent, I should say. And just what an actor. He was in a great The Eraser. He played a great bad guy in that movie. For those of you that remember that one, next to Arnold Schwarzenegger, kind of a hokey, whatever film, but man, I enjoyed it. So James Caan, rest in peace, sir. Hope you're having a big glass of wine and a big plate of pasta up there, wherever you're at now. So man, rest in peace. Another show I wanted to tell you guys about that somebody suggested to me. Oh no, I watched it. Hello. Some about Dodger Stadium I was looking at, and I saw there was a documentary made about Dodger Stadium. And I was like, what is this? And it said Long Shot. And it was on Netflix. It's only about 40 minutes. Check it out. If you're into law and Law and Order, basically. And basically this guy was accused of murder. And the night of the murder, he was at a Dodger game with his daughter. And he was arrested and he was on trial. And they had to prove that he was at this Dodger game. And they used the footage of the field, the TV feed. They knew where his seats were, so they know kind of where to look. They did everything they could they could see him, but it wasn't clear enough. So it's amazing. I won't spoil it for you. I'll let you guys check it out. It was some really great investigating work by his lawyer. A really cool story. There's some shots of Dodger Stadium. It happened in the early 2000s. So it was at a game. Eric Gagne was pitching. And I thought it was really cool, really, really cool little inside of some police kind of pulling a fast one on this guy. And so much we're talking about the police and pursuing criminals and things. And this was a doc where the cops definitely got it wrong. And well, I don't want to say anymore, but check that out on Netflix. Long Shot, only about 40 minutes. And it's baseball, it's crime, it's wrong place, wrong time, right place, right time. It's a lot of that. It was cool. I really enjoyed it. And I think you will too. Let me know what you guys think of that. Long Shot on Netflix. The other weekend, last weekend, I should say, I had an epiphany as we were cooking, right? During all that great 4th of July food. We were making steaks and salad potatoes on the Independence Eve. Oh no, it was Saturday. It was Saturday because the UFC was on. And we're cooking so it was chicken maybe. Yeah, we were chicken because we were flipping it every 5 minutes or something. You know what's great to do? Just combining two great things is cooking while watching fighting. In this instance, UFC. 5-minute rounds, perfect. You stand there, you throw some chicken in. We again broiling, big broiler here. You watch a fight, and 5 minutes goes by. Boom, it's time to flip. You don't need a clock in here. If there's a timeout or something, okay, fine. But you run in, you got about a minute between rounds. You flip it, you put it back in. Boom, another 5 minutes. Fantastic. This is like being efficient with life here. And if it's boxing, it's 3-minute rounds. You got your 3, and then you got 1. And so you know what I'm trying to say. I think a good cooking timer is watching UFC. You could probably do it with boxing, but it's perfect. I was like, oh man, the fight's on. I want to watch this. And then I started cooking and I was like, wait a minute. This is a sign from God. You can do both at once. And the kitchen's not very far. I'll walk in, boom, you got your full minute. Flip it, 5 minutes. using a fight clock for cooking is phenomenal. Try it sometime. I think you guys will really like it. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. Okay. Actually, you want to talk about participation medals, participation trophies? Now, I didn't look up previous winners of this award, even though I kind of know it's gone a certain direction a time or two here in the past few years. And if I'm going to be critical of one president versus another, okay, this isn't so much about, no, it isn't about the president. You know who won the Presidential Medal of Freedom recently? Megan Rapinoe and Simone Biles. Two athletes. Very successful athletes. Except when Simone does the whole, I can't do this, it's too hard, I need to walk away. And then Megan Rapinoe, who hates America, thinks she's always mistreated and not, she wants to be equal as men, but not treated the same as, I don't know, I lose track. Purple-haired America hater. These are the people we give the Presidential Medal of Freedom to. Simone Biles, an excellent gymnast, has won gold medals for the country. God bless her. Okay, kind of a bad look for her, though, this past Olympics when her mental health wasn't there. She had to leave the balance beam. I mean, those guys getting shot at in Normandy. Hey, I need a break. I can't do this. Presidential Medal of Freedom? What about the 13 soldiers in Afghanistan who were killed during the withdrawal? That would seem to be maybe. Do these recipients have to be alive? Maybe this award just means nothing. I don't know. If it means nothing, and again, it's a participation trophy, then fine, give it to them. I was really mad about the whole Megan Rapinoe thing. All she's ever done is talk poorly about America. It's not all just Trump stuff. She legit hates America. No doubt about it. She needs to go play soccer for Afghanistan. See how big your voice is there. I think women's rights are awful here in America. Why don't you go check over the Middle East? See how great those women's rights are. Or Russia, perhaps, where they still have Brittany Griner locked up for some marijuana or what? Why she did that? Why she thought she was just invincible to go in another country that had, these people that hate America. And Brittany Griner, she's never really voted until this last election. She voted for President Biden, who she's reached out to and said, "Please help me, save me. I need your help." Who, he's done nothing. She's been there for months, and people are saying, "Well, if it was LeBron James, they'd go get him. They would act." Well, I do know a few years ago that when some UCLA basketball players stole some stuff, and no, I'm not talking about basketballs on the court. They were in China stealing sunglasses of all things, and the greedy, ungrateful American, I don't know, this painted us in a really bad light. Why they thought they could do things like this, and this is why I'm in favor of kind of when teams go to other countries. It's like you need to see how other countries are, so you can maybe appreciate this one a little bit more. But you remember those 3 UCLA guys that got arrested? We're looking at major sentences in China, another friendly country. You know how long it took for the current U.S. president to get them out of there? A lot shorter than it's taken Biden to get Brittany Griner out of Russia. Does her vote not count, Joe? I'm sorry, Mr. President. I respect the office. What about Brittany? All this talk about equality and justice and all the, she's going to leave her behind? Treat her like a soldier in Afghanistan? Is that what we're doing? I don't know. Just, she's apparently going to be, she pleaded guilty and she could face up to 10 years there for, maybe she won't kneel for the national anthem next time she hears it, the American national. She'll probably be hearing the Russian national anthem for quite some time. But I bet you next time she hears the U.S. national anthem, she won't take a knee like the rest of the WNBA did. She'll maybe appreciate it a little bit more, or she'll be super bitter that the American government didn't come get her. Either way, maybe she'll regret her vote. I don't know. Just a thought. Brittany. I apologize. Well, I don't apologize. Maybe you should apologize. And Megan Rapinoe won the Presidential Medal of Honor. Let's see previous winners. I don't even look it up. You guys look it up. Presidential Medal of Freedom. There's that. And I'm sure there was probably other people besides Megan Rapinoe and hello. Pardon me, Simone Biles. And maybe we change the name of it. That would be the Presidential Medal of Freedom. What does that even mean? Does that mean you have spoken up for, oh man, there's like, okay, so they were among the people. There's like 20 people that won this medal. Denzel Washington, the actor, in 2022. That's cool. Tiger Woods, Jerry. This is in 2019, 2020. Okay, that's cool. Mariano Rivera, some athletes, Bob Cousy, Roger Staubach, Babe Ruth, 2018. Joe Biden, 2017. No, what is this? Are these previous winners? Awarded by Barack Obama. 17. Okay, that must have been like January of 2017, right before the changing of the guard. I got it. I see. Michael Jordan in 2016. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Vince Scully, 2016. I do remember that. So let me see what this award is for. The Presidential Medal of Freedom is awarded by the president for especially meritorious contribution to the security of national interest of the United States, world peace, cultural or other significant public or private endeavors. Honorees are selected by the president or recommended to them by the Distinguished Civilian Service Awards Board. Okay, well, whatever. There's some great names on there. What is Simone Biles? Simone Biles, she's competed and won some Olympic. What has Megan Rapinoe done? What has she done? She won the gold medal. She was a great soccer. She kneels for the anthem everywhere. You know, I guess that's what heroes are these days. I got to stop talking about this stuff. Okay. I've talked long enough. All right. Are we going to have, you know what? I'm going to take a breather from the whole, do I have time? I'm sorry, guys. See, I just ramble away. A couple things I want to talk about. A Charge to Keep podcast. That is coming in hot real soon. I got an episode with head coach Mark Carson that will air very soon. And then starting July 29th, we will officially be on weekly on the Charge to Keep podcast every Friday. I want to have an episode out as we build up to the opening kickoff for Rio Hondo Prep on August 26th against the El Monte Lions. So my attention will be committed to that podcast specifically on the A Charge to Keep podcast. I want that to be, that's going to require attention and getting to people. I'm still going to have the Get Home Safe podcast, but it's probably by the end of July, not going to have the Friday guest episodes any longer. I will just have the Tuesday episode with just me. I'll try to keep them at an hour or less. I know you guys don't like hearing me ramble especially when I get into these moods, but I am just going to keep it at, I'm just going to keep it with just me, one episode weekly on the Get Home Safe podcast, and then really dive into the football season on A Charge to Keep, that podcast. I want to be committed to weekly episodes there. And so that's where my attention is going to be, interviewing people. And it's just a time thing, really. I need a break. I need a little bit of a break. I've been doing the guests now for like 2.5 years. I'm not running out of people. Well, I bring people back on and it's fun. I have some more people set up in line for the next couple of weeks, but that is the plan of the Get Home Safe podcast. By August, we'll say, specifically July 29th, there probably won't be Friday episodes anymore, but there will be Friday episodes on the Charge to Keep podcast, the official podcast of Rio Hondo Prep football. So we're going to be talking to coaches, players, broadcasters, fans. I already got some great things lined up. I may have recorded a few already, so I'm excited about that and to release those for you guys. Maybe some rankings of some of the best RHP football players of all time. That is in store as well. So lots to do on the Charge to Keep podcast, and the Get Home Safe podcast will continue, but it will just be me once a week on weekly, rambling away and talking baseball, talking football mostly, and about things I see that bother me really, and things that inspire as well. So I just thought of something, and I'm going to use this is my get out of jail. Can we still say that? That's got to be, everyone gets out of jail these days. So I guess it's irrelevant. Everyone's out of jail. Everyone's free. Everyone. In honor of the Major League Baseball All Star Game, the All Star break, I'm not going to have a baseball rule this week, or some language, some baseball slang, baseball terminology, baseball talk. I am going to take a break myself in honor of the All-Star. You guys like that? Like how I tied that in off the top of my head? Kind of an interesting show today. A lot of things just off the top of my head, not so many in the notebook here, but yeah, in honor of the All-Star Game, taking a breather from baseball talk for 1 week. I'll be back next week to have a baseball rule for you guys and a baseball term that you can use out on the diamond when you're watching your kids, or out at a Dodger game or whatever. Okay. Sound good? Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. This Friday, I'm going to have on the podcast Mrs. Mara Drain. She is the guest. I've already interviewed her. You guys are really going to like that episode as she talks about her 5 great children, the Drain family, and about her husband, Coach Ken Drain, who has coached so many of us at Rio Hondo Prep. Her kids are probably terrified, and I love it because I'm friends with all of them, and I know that their mom will definitely be embarrassing them a little bit on the podcast, and that's what mothers are for. So good luck, guys. Enjoy Friday's podcast. Guys, thanks for tuning in today. I appreciate you bearing with me this long. Big things ahead for the Charge to Keep podcast. Big things ahead for the Get Home Safe podcast. I'm just one man juggling a couple podcasts and doing my best to keep you guys entertained, and if nothing else, to blow off some steam so I don't rip what's left off of my my head. I'm gonna start ripping out my beard here pretty soon. Just pulling my hair out. It's just and I can't do this. So that's why I have to have the podcast here. Thanks so much, guys. Be sure to tune in on Friday. Interview with Mrs. Mara Drain, and July 20. No, let's see. Sometime either this week or maybe it's even out already. There'll be a Charge to Keep podcast with head coach Mark Carson. And starting July 29th, we will be on weekly on the Charge to Keep podcast. So if you haven't subscribed to the podcast audio wise or on YouTube, please go on there, and also Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. If you need my help, I'm here for you. I know how to, I can direct you the right way. Get Home Safe podcast at yahoo.com if you have any content suggestions or topics. And as far as the Charge to Keep podcast, that is charge to keep pod at gmail.com. All right, guys, enough out of me. Have a great rest of your week. We'll be back on Friday for a fun conversation with Mrs. Drain you don't want to miss. But guys, until then, as always, no matter what you're doing, whether you're out on the town or rounding third base, get home safe.